Computer. Lights.
And good morning, guys. Straight to work. We got lots to do. So let's go on ahead and let's talk about maquettes and setups. Okay. So we've got a couple of things we're working on right here. Least of which is that Mayrel is buckled in, so I'm making a buckle for her outfit so that I can remember to draw it whenever I draw it. Otherwise, I won't draw it. I know how this works. So, and I'll forget that she's buckled in because Navin is not buckled in. So we can rotate this 45 degrees. What I'll do is give me a triangle for this. So and we'll have to correct some of this stuff because like that's what it should be at. Let's double check to make sure it's flush against her chest because she's buckled in. And we can scale it down just a hair like so. There we go. So she's buckled in. It really probably ought to be a triangle instead of a square. But, you know, we do what we do. We do what we can, and all we can do is all we can do. And all we can do is the best we can do. And noticing a few things, just a little bit of adjustment here. I'm going to just adjust her pouches so that they're correct. Because this scene holds for good morning. Oh, let's see here. I don't know. I'm sort of a bad news guy first. So, what's the bad news? Good morning, Hone. It's because I like to get the bad news out of the way. Good morning, Donald. But if the bad news is that you're leaving us, then I'm going to be all sad. So, that better not be the bad news. I've gotten all acclimated to having you here, Hone. I like having you around. Okay. Let's see here. Because maybe the good news is that it stopped raining. Ugh. Been raining in Thailand for like many days. Many days. So hoping that the weather's let up in Thailand so that Hone can get some work done. All right. Fixing the pouches to make sure that her pouches are straight. Probably should fix the pouch that's there because it really should be on the line, right? I mean, just little things. But remember, this scene holds for a long time. They're talking to each other. Oh, good. Oh, camera thingy. Oh, no. But it's 11 o'clock, so you're not taking the bus now, right? You'll take the bus later. But I know you live like out of town quite a ways, right? So it's a bus ride. Ugh. I follow bus ride, man. I'm there. I'm there. And the good news is the rain stopped. Yay! Oh. We're getting spitty snow. Like it's lazy snow. Which is good because my kiddo walked or will have to walk home from school in theory. Mom drove him to school this morning, but when it comes to this afternoon, I'm doing the, it builds character thing because I'm dad, and that's what dads do. Um, And frankly, I walked in snow to like the house. Okay, so the house that I grew up in is about 3 or 4 blocks south or north of here and about 1 block east. So, like, I'm in the same neighborhood that I grew up in, and my kid is going to the same school. So, or just walking back to your room at the hotel. Thai style beef jerky. Thai food's good. See, that's the thing. I was raised in the South. I'm a Southern boy. So I, I I wasn't raised in the South. I was raised here in Colorado, but my family was Southern, and so there was a lot of hot Cajun food, like really hot. Like dinners would have jalapenos on them. Usually, that's just a tradition, and so jalapenos are, nothing to me. And if you were lucky, we'd have some habanero or we'd have something like that. And I have to admit, Korean and Thai food, that's hot. That stuff's because, like, usually everywhere else in the world, I'm like, your hot stuff is cool, but it's not so bad. You know what I mean? But man, Thai food and Korean food can be some serious hot. Oh, good. You can eat with us then. Speaking of food, now we're just all going to be hungry. This is us making ourselves hungry. I'm going to blame Donald for it because he's the one that started the whole thing, right? Okay. I'm going to make sure, first of all, here's what we're doing. We have a set. The set is rigged. I'm going to go on ahead and select everything. And here's what I want to do. I'm going to go into my surfaces and I just want to double check that everything has an ambient color and the ambient is full up and the diffuse is full up. Because otherwise, when we render it, we're going to get all these shadows. We don't want shadows, right? So when we fire off a render, like say from this camera view right here, where we're looking in on Navin in the front and Mayrel in the back, we're going to have to make 2 renders for every frame. So because I need to do one render that's like this, and then we're going to do a second render without these guys, right? So we're going to do that. Pepper's joining us. Look at Pepper. It's Pepper.
Hello.
How you doing today, Pepper?
I just woke up and realized it was 9 o'clock.
And it's 9 o'clock. 9:08.
Yeah. Bill is not here today.
Okay. So
So-
no messages from Bill.
No messages from Bill. He's on a work thing.
In
They put him in
outer
Denver.
Abu Dhabi. I just
Yep.
make stuff up, man.
Watercolor Wednesday is going to be canceled because my watercolor work is for
Top
a
secret.
second show. That's what's on my board right now. So I just figured I'd pop in, let you know that, and then I don't know, since I'm not really doing artwork today that's for the public. I didn't know if you wanted me to stay for the full show or not.
Well, you know how much I hate you and
Oh,
stuff. So that's important.
Good morning, Gallup.
And Hone's out there too.
Oh, okay. Hi, honey.
So that.
No, I just figured I would pop in and basically like, oh yeah, I have to do this stuff. I have a lot of assignments this week. That's the only reason why I'm popping out. Happens to art in the art world, when you're a working artist, I think um, Guy knows that very well.
It's all good, man. You can do whatever you feel like you want to do. If you feel like this is something that you want to just hang around and, or, I mean, you can, oh man, it's all reversed. You can do whichever way you want to go. I'm okay with either. Neither one of those hurts me in either way. Well, I mean, I'd miss you if you weren't here, obviously.
Well, you know what? I do have this thing where, I mean, I probably could get your help or just help with it. Um, that I can do for the show is just not watercolor; it's writing, comic strips.
Pepper Poppins. Pepper Poppins. Gotcha. That's what you are. You're Pepper Poppins. Welcome to the world of Pepper Poppins.
um, yeah. Apparently, one day, last, I want to say Monday, this past Monday, I had like this really weird urge to make my own version of Saturday Funnies.
Everybody's had weird things going. Like,
yeah,
it's like Brian was on here and he's been doing like Captain Crunch. And I mean, like, everybody's all of a sudden had these like really strange, bizarre urges. I'm worrying
yeah.
about our crew.
So, anyways, I took, that. So you may be, you may actually find this fun. So I took Atomic Jupiter, and I'm going to do the first page of Atomic Jupiter that Atom Punk Jupiter. The story I was talking about writing a while back. I wrote several pages before, like, I had to put it on hold again. So I took one of their pages, and it's now going to be placed in like a comic strip format. I did that with two other stories I've mentioned on the show about writing, and I guess it's a lesson in what works with one idea may be something that you put in another, which happens a lot to artists and people who are creative. So, like, yes, we reuse our work several places we can.
This is exactly like why I'm using maquettes right now. Anything that makes it go faster, anything that can save us time. And I know it seems like, but Guy, you're not saving any time while you pose these maquettes, except that these maquettes aren't going to move. So, yes, I saw that too.
Yep.
You need his hair though.
What about my hair? I went to bed with my head wet. Sue me.
What are you talking about? What in the world are you talking about?
Anyways, one of the strips though, like, I come up with these names, and sometimes I forget which story that they're actually belonging to. So I have this story called Captain Pumpkin. I'm thinking it's a superhero pumpkin.
Captain Pumpkin. Okay.
Yeah. So, like, everyone in the town is vegetables type deal.
Okay. So, Hone Donald's talking about Ukraine. He's talking about...
I'm trying to avoid the Ukraine talk today.
Yeah, well, no, but Hone is asking about bomb shelters. And I was saying that he's talking about Ukraine. So that's... I'm actually going to use the same pose that I just had a second ago.
Yeah, yeah. I should make it like where he has to drink a spice to become Captain Pumpkin. That should be good.
Nope.
Uh or that's his sidekick. Mm, that's also a pumpkin named Pumpkin Spice.
Right? Who's a singer?
Yeah,
Definitely a singer.
yeah.
So,
No, I'm just like I'm trying to figure out what to do to actually show in a comic strip. Huh, excuse me.
you're welcome.
It's not like orange justice everywhere. Oh my god.
I don't even want to know, man. I don't want to know because I'm afraid I'll get an answer and then I'll be like, well, I didn't need to know that. All right. And I feel like that Donald's verbing things that shouldn't be verbed.
Well, I mean,
I
it's
mean,
all
not the
good.
first time with Donald. So,
It's all,
there is
it's
that.
all good. It's all good. I just
Yep. We don't have to. In actuality, Hone, Pepper can't talk about Ukraine. So, this works just fine for us. We can't discuss Ukraine and probably better for our sanity as well. So,
I'm sorry. It's just the whole subject is affecting my family a great amount of deal. So I
you
just
know,
don't.
don't talk about it. Don't talk about how you can't talk about it because you end up talking about it.
I know. I know.
So so I'm just explaining to Honey that they need not worry. It's all good. They need not worry. We are fine. All right. I just need to get the pilot here.
Well, I am enjoying
Yeah,
Donald,
whereas the verbing of
Donald's
orange,
world of
that is
Captain Pumpkin.
right.
He now, instead of bird is the verb is a herb. Herb, herb, herb. In a Pee Wee Herman voice.
Well, yesterday,
Oh,
Brian and I came up with a hysterical story. It was just so funny. Because that there was that rock in in Japan which split open, and
yeah, I
the
heard about
rock was holding, according to legend, the rock is holding a specific nine-tailed kitsune,
Yep.
and so um, we started this whole thing because the kitsune, the spirit that's in there, according to legend, was locked in there when she posed as a courtesan and tried to seduce the emperor in 1053. And instead, she was trying to kill him and failed. And so they locked her in this rock, and the rock has been with a demon seal since. And so it splitting open means that, theoretically, we now have a kitsune. Yeah, dude, I'm starting to worry about you there, Hone. You've got us, but it's a long flight for anybody to get to you. If you need help, we're really not close. We would all happily help you out, but there's nothing we could do. It's a long flight. I don't know why you're wandering the city.
Maybe on the way home.
That's what we're hoping. Hoping you're on your way home.
Please stay safe.
Yeah. So,
Um,
my pilot is, if you're wondering, my pilot is Najor, which is the species that is like a giant amoeba, and they like to form knife and pepper spray. Keeping you in our thoughts there, Hone. Najor are like amoeba, so they can form whatever form they want to form. And so my Najor guy here is a beefy dude. As I think that's part of the humor is that the Najor always try to form the beefiest humans that they can because it's funny. I always feel like the Najor also have a wild sense of humor, and they like stuff like this. It comes from there was a character type in Star Frontiers, which is a TSR game system, called a Dralocyte, and they were effectively huge amoebas too, although they couldn't form forms like mine. Morning, Brent.
Morning, Brent.
We're all keeping an eye on Hone because they're on their way back to a room and they're wandering the city right now, making us all somewhat nervous. So hoping that Hone does well, getting back to their room because they're in the city and they can't go home because the buses are done for the day. All right.
Brent is asking about your cells.
They're right over there. Did you see these? I am working on comic. We're going to try to push these 12 pages, Brent. We're going to see what we can do. But real quickly, I'll switch over to the desk. So we're prepping for cell work, and what I discovered was I've got this, and it's just a basic apple barrel paint. I mean, like this is a 2.5 ounce bottle, so it's very, very small, but it also costs like $1. And I went on ahead and I did this this particular Harley as a test, and she's turning out really nice. She turned out fine. Give you an idea of what it will look like. It'll look like this, right? So she looks good on here on the background. So Harley is solid, and then on Monday I went and colorized my girl with the umbrella.
Okay.
And I got this frame that I'm going to put around her. So it'll be 2 different layers. And that'll look good, I think. And then I'll put those 2 layers together with maybe just a watercolor brush background.
Mm-hmm. Glad to hear, Hone.
Yep. So anyway, the cells are coming along nicely. They don't take any thinking to do. All I got to do is just paint them and paint it. All I got to do is yeah, see, too bad. All I got to do now is effectively make it so that the painting for this is effectively just staying inside the lines. We made a mistake on Monday, on Sunday, because I went and printed them out on Sunday or Saturday because it snowed on Sunday. But I made a mistake and an error on it and printed on the wrong side. So they were printed. So only one side can take take the paint. The other side, it just beads up into little balls on the transparency, and so the paint won't stay. So in order for this to work, I have to reverse the image and then have it printed, because it has to be the face of the print that I put the paint on. And since you put the paint on the reverse side, we have to have the reverse side be the face. So I know that doesn't make any sense, but it doesn't. It works. It works. Don't worry. That's what the two Harleys are. So we've got this Harley was with the apple barrel paint, and this Harley is with this, which is legitimate, honest to goodness cell paint, right? So I can't see any fundamental difference, which is good, because this stuff is like $30, right? Where this is $2. So I can't see the difference between the two. They seem to be fundamentally the same.
I do want to just point out one thing. The only thing that is actually different between the two paints. The official cell paint that you just saw, that's like $30, that one will have a longer lasting UV shelf life than the apple paint.
Be willing to bet that's probably true. Quick drying, easy cleanup.
The cheaper one will also crack. Yeah, the cheaper one will most likely also start cracking and peeling off of it sooner.
Right. Keep brushes wet and clean after use, or put in isopropyl. Keep from freezing.
Yeah.
Maybe. I mean, we've gone through only a small amount of it because we're down to about here on the bottle.
Yeah.
To do a number of these so far. So you may be right.
But just keep him. I'm just saying that right now, because I mean, acrylic paint is very tricky for a lot of people. I do know.
Well, and we'll know because we've got these two cells, so we'll see.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sell those cells; they're reversed, so I can keep them here. You know, actually, I thought of very much about an epoxy resin pour between cells to just make it into a block. That also would keep the paint from cracking. I mean, legitimately.
So
it depends on how much the resin would be. I mean, how much cost the resin puts in. Right now, I'm just going to put a frame in there and bolt it to the frames so we can put a layer between each frame.
I mean, if you wanted to do the resin, there is a person that has actually done like this technique where they paint fish and they pour multiple things of resin in between each layer. But they're painting directly onto resin. So, but Brent's asking on how much the cells are going to go for.
So I was like, I'm going to sell them for $100 a piece. And then everybody looks at me and goes, so I'm thinking, depending on the complexity, 25 to 45, maybe 50. I don't know. I was going to actually put that out there and see what people think. You know, like everything, I'm looking for the most amount of money for the cheapest amount of work. I know it sounds horrible, but it is a truism because I've got other things to do, like this comic for one. So the question really is, what do we think? Think we can get away with 40, or do we think that's too much? I don't know. Something to think about.
I'm like
So,
the last person that you want to ask about pricing, but if
because you
I
suck at
already,
pricing.
yeah.
I suck at pricing too.
Um,
I devalue my work all the time, which is part of the problem.
However, if Bill was here in the room and he was seeing that your painting sells, he'd probably be like, "Are you painting the backgrounds too?"
Yeah. I mean, like for the girl with the umbrella, she doesn't have a background. So I'm just going to do a watercolor background. It's raining. So I can
Yeah.
pretty much just do sort of a nice green for the grass of the background with some gray sort of, I don't have to be specific.
Hmm.
Maybe some vague objects in the background because it's raining, so
Yeah. So Bill would probably say that you need to charge about $150 to start.
does
Like
Bill
this
come
is
up with
my
these
husband.
things
This is part of the things that my husband talks to me about when I
all
when
the
I
time,
sell my art.
right?
So, like, folks, this is legitimately on how someone thinks on how to price art. So
Right.
I'm telling Guy the honest truth.
I'm
He
with
ba-
you. I'm with
he
you.
would basically say start at $150 for all of your cells, especially and if you have more than one cell on that you're selling at a time, bump it up half the price. So 150 plus 75
Right.
for the two cell thing. Um, okay, thank you. I know NerdForge was like the latest one that did resin paint job that I watched not that long ago.
I just
Um,
buried my phone somewhere. Here's my phone.
So yeah, they're always cool to watch, but the problem is watching like hearing them talk about how they dry is kind of weird because yeah.
I made a 30-pound underwater resin diorama. Okay, I like her already.
Chick pink and purple hair.
Yeah,
Yeah, that's Nerd Forge. I've
I
watched it
love her.
already.
Yeah, I've
And
already gotten into a lot of her videos. She's cool.
yeah,
She knows what she's doing. She's got like everything under control. It's like, but it's funny too because it's like really, you know, it's a
yeah,
thing.
they just got a studio space not that like at the end of last year, so they they're doing good.
Good,
Like
good jobs, good job.
yeah.
Like it when artists do stuff. I like seeing artists do things and get work done and stuff. It bugs me when we spend time with artists and like the whole thing is yeah, they don't do anything because they're artists and we're not supposed to make money and it makes me mad. How we doing out there, Hone?
Last time I
Last we
read
heard, they
was
were at
Tony
the
saw the hotel in the distance, so
right
that and asked
off
us
in the
not to stop
distance.
worrying.
Yeah, I heard that too, but I'm like, I don't know, man. Okay, pinky down. There we go. Just making a few generic poses so that we can come back to these at any time. Boy, he's such a beefy dude that he's going to have a hard time seeing over this panel, especially once I draw him like a Najor with his. Cool. Get back to drawing. Get back to work. Get back to work. Good. We were worried about you. You're fam.
Nice to hear, Hone.
Yep. Okay, so this is, I'm going to call this one Flight Couch or Flight 2. So we'll save.
I get that,
And
Donald. I get that, Donald.
he just kind of doing the things. It's all good. 2. So one of the things, if you guys use Daz Studio, that really irritates me about Daz Studio is if you don't unclick general on the hip and general on the pilot, then it always will be at this XYZ location. If you untick them, then that information is not saved and it'll be wherever the maquette is. So, oh, I do. You can't see anything. Thank you. There we go. If you
It just shows on how much I pay attention when I'm
right, I know.
on the show, right?
So that's another thing I could do is do these cells with a little light inside them or something, with like an LED strip.
Mm-hmm.
That could be fun. Like especially if you did a cell where it was all solid except for openings that had screens and things like that. You know, then you could put a little light behind it and the screens would glow. I have thought of something new.
Well, here's a question. What would Captain Pumpkin, the superhero pumpkin, nemesis, or our main arch villain be? Like, what type of vegetable, or gourd, or starchy product would be it?
You're talking because I've got no idea, so I leave that to
Oh,
our
I've still been.
viewers.
Oh, I've still been working on Captain Pumpkin. I'm trying to
Nothing
figure out.
wrong with Captain Pumpkin. I think Captain Pumpkin's awesome.
Yes, but I'm trying to give him an arch nemesis. The Batman to his, the Joker to his Batman.
Are we continuing with theme? Because if so,
Yes, they're all
be like
vegetables.
it could
Fred
be.
made a good point. Eggplant. Oh, avocado.
Yeah, I was gonna say it could be a weed. It could be like Dr.
The
Mint,
dandelion.
the Dr. Dandelion, Dr. Dandelion. It's done.
Okay.
Dr. Dandelion. It is.
Apparently, Guy wants Dr. Dandelion.
Yeah. Okay. That's good number 3 for this. So
I'm putting a space between dandy and lion.
that's what I was saying before. Go in here, you untick general, click open the hip, untick general there. This means that general means that its XYZ coordinates will be saved as well in the pose. And the same for the hip, the XYZ coordinates will be saved as well. Oh no. So you're gonna have to dump the hoodie? Oh man.
Yes, Donald. Dr. Dandelion will spread evil with every wind. And I am sorry for that type of change, Honey.
Yeah,
I
client.
just went through this with one of my more professional jobs. I finished watercoloring the entire piece, and then they were like, "Can we make this change?"
Which is, of course, critical, like
Which changes the entire format of
the
everything.
entire format.
So yeah, I do understand. It's a pain in the butt. Sorry. Ooh. I know you can do this.
All right. So if you're wondering what I just did, here's what I just did. We've got our pilot sitting up here, and now the pilot can press a control either there or compress a control up here. All of those work. So Right? Next time, pay double, dude. I agree. Okay. Looking over here at at our other thing, let's take a look at what we've got as far as drawings for this. So here we have this whole page I'm not able to do this page without outside pictures of the ships, which we'll get to. Now we're looking here on the approach. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So there's 5 panels in here. All of these panels, all 3 of these pages can be done today because we have the set. So let's go on ahead and do that. You'll be like, huh? All 3 of these panels? Yes. All 3 pages? Yes. So we should be able to, in theory, set up, and you should see how fast this goes. So our first scene, go for our camera. Our first scene is here, looking in the cockpit at our guys. Now, when I look at this particular piece, I see it being very narrow. So I want to make sure that their eyes are as lined up as possible here. I'm going to tilt him over because I can already see he's not quite leaning out like I want him to. He's looking out at the ship that we just had. So we're going to do that side to side because he's kind of, whoa, look at that, you know. Forward, we're going to bend it up like so. Bend his neck. He's looking upwards. So, okay. I'm not as worried about their eyes. Yep. It's the way to do it. And now let's talk about what Mayrell's doing. She's maybe quizzically looking. I feel like she's probably not angrily looking, but she's quizzically looking. Okay. I feel like that's a good solid start. So let's go ahead and hit the render button and see what kind of disaster we've just caused. What kind of disaster did we cause? Like where his eyes are. Like, so there is a glitch that we have discovered now with Daz Studio, where the male rig is not, the eyes won't lock to a point at. So I'm going to have to manually move the eyes. But since this guy is Najor, he's got a little like hammerhead head that the Najor like to do. So all I got to do is just make sure her eyes are straight and his eyes are relatively straight, and we're okay.
Okay.
And I don't have to worry about anything else. Okay, so we're not going to the desktop. We're going out to completes. Back to the tech manual, back to completes, Act 1, prologue. So here we go. We're in prologue 2. We've got a Daz files. We're going to make a new folder, and we're going to call this preposes. Everything is rendered very big. So I number my preposes exactly as they are here. So this is page 2. So PP2, PP02, because there's 12 pages, dash, and then this is panel 1. Okay. Oh, crap.
I'll be realistic. I just read your stuff, Donald, and I just want to say spunky spinach
Spunky
sounds like
spinach.
another. Yeah, it sounds like another supervillain, and the sunny spinaches are his henchmen. Gotta say yes. I like that setup.
Okay. So I'm
I
going
don't know
to
if I would want to do bugs, but I'm making the dandelion pop out in the first episode with like basically vegetable killer, like spray that's billowing out from a building. Yeah, that happened.
that happened. Okay, so this next panel, as we're putting them in, come on, I'm having problems adjusting. The next panel we have here, the pilot, this is our pilot, is responding to instructions for landing. So I'm going to put him in this pose. And we're going to zoom in a little bit more because it's a small panel. And let's see, what can we do here? So Mayrel is smiling at him because she's actually a pilot. So she's doing the, haha, I know what he's doing. He's on landing approach, yada, 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 sort of thing. Is, when you are the kind of person who does the same job. There we go. Just need to get this to be, there we go. That's what I'm looking for. Right there. Right, when you do the same job. Oh, ha. Hey there. Hi there, Colton. What's Watercolor Wednesday? It isn't. How are you? I'm actually page setting though. So there you go. So let's hit the render button. Bork. So my pre-poses shortcut 4 steps of drawing. So I don't have to sketch. I don't have to pencil. I can go straight to ink, which is a nice plus about the pre-posing function. So my original drawing here indicates we're just waiting for the render to clear. This is panel 2. Save that. And we'll put him back to normal. And then now we've got these two in the background. So we'll come up here like so and kind of highlight these two who are talking to each other now, right? I want this to be wide enough that you can see that she is wearing a harness and he's not. And that's important because nobody has been introduced to my AIs yet. So they don't know. So it should look a little strange that he's not sitting in the seat properly and he's not sitting with folded, like trying to kind of keep himself from being crushed by the acceleration of the acceleration couch. So you're just doing homework. I said PP? Did I say PP? Yes, I
Apparently,
did because it's pages.
yeah.
Gotcha. That's kind of like it's under there, Pepper.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, I grew up with a lot of kids. I'm not saying underwear. Right? So the next thing here is he's going to say that's a big ship. It is a big ship. Because this whole discussion here is that he's saying, wow, because they're coming up on the Polaris. And the Polaris is a massive ship. The Polaris is huge. So I'm going to focus more on him. The original artwork had me on the other side, but now I am doing the don't cross the streams thing. Yeah, you're not going to work. I actually may pull the eye target out and just say none. It's probably easier to just manually do this than it is to do that, because the eyes can be controlled either individually, like this, or we can just control their up and down and left and right from the head controls, right? Because it's just down here. And with this one, we can control their side to side functions. And actually, you can see it a lot better if I'm closer. Now you can't because apparently it's going to do that, but we can control left and right, and we can control up and down. So if the point at function is not going to work, then I'm just going to manually steer the eyes. Okay, so let's plan this scene. This shot could be more over her shoulder, like so. It's hard to see. But if we do this, we could probably come in over her shoulder more like that. And then we've got to give room in the shot. Let's pull back. Okay, so anybody want to explain that one? No, I guess not. So I need to give enough room for her to be able to see. So I'm going to actually take my camera here. And we're already at a focal length of 27. I'm going to go back to 22. 22 gives me a little bit more visual room here. But we have to remember we have to have open space for him to say something. Okay. We'll see you in a second, Hone. Hone is having an interesting world over there.
Mm-hmm.
There we go. There is one thing I have noticed, though. Set the maquettes correctly, and you don't have to worry as much about things. But if you don't set the maquettes correctly, then things look really weird from some angle. So you might as well, because it's an easy thing to decide to just do ball gags or muzzles. Yeah. I don't know if we should be encouraging Hone to ball gag people. It just seems like that's a bad idea all the way across the board.
If it's consensual,
Yeah, but see, I really don't know if I need to know that much about Hone. I'm just saying.
we don't know what Hone does.
Right? And
But-
no judgment. No judgment.
Okay, I'm just saying, just make sure it's consensual.
Right. So we're here. We've got here is we're going to be doing sort of looking at him as he says that's a big ship. I want to get just enough of that her face is in this shot. Right. So we're going to do kind of this. I'm going to give her a higher eye line than him because I want her to, she's the elder ranked member on here. Okay, we'll roll this.
All right. I think I managed to do an
I have a
extremely.
commission email. Brent's commissioning me. Even as we speak, Brent is commissioning me. I think Brent really wants the concept of pouring resin, which could be a whole lot of fun. So really,
Takes a while.
I can't complain. I mean, this sounds like a whole lot of fun. So this is panel 2, panel 3. This is panel 3. It's no rush. Okay, so now we're getting to the point where these two characters are going to be talking back and forth. You need an excuse to do it. So I'm going to go on ahead and I'm going to create a new camera. And I'm going to call this On Mayrel. And this camera then is going to live Mayrel. I can't even spell my own characters' names. Okay, so On Mayrel is going to be going the other direction, so crossed across like this.
So I made Captain Pumpkin's very conspicuous civilian name, Christopher Pumpinski.
Okay.
And he works as a reporter with a co-reporter named Laura Peabody, and Timmy LaJuice is their photographer.
Just worrying about you a lot. You know, I'm just saying. Mayrel's eye target. I'm going to go from the top. Mayrel was looking at the pilot, but now that we are here, I want to go ahead and move her eye target over so that she's actually looking at.
We were talking about you possibly putting a ball gag or a muzzle on your friend.
Yeah, I noticed that Hone like leveled it up though.
Yeah. Wow. That took a turn.
Yeah, that was a turn.
But that's good. That's good.
Because now Mayrel's looking at our industrial ensign. And I just got the break call, so I'm going to stand up here in a second and take a break. See you in 5 or 10, Brent. We're going to take pose controls here. She's asking him a question.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to open her mouth so that I will remember that I need to open her mouth when I draw this picture. What? Everybody's going to coffee break.
Well, it is 10 o'clock, so...
That's what I just got informed from Doodlywop 2.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to tilt his head slightly like so. They're having a discussion. So I have to decide where I'm going to ultimately place the dialogue boxes. On the actual panel, it has all the dialogue boxes to the left. So I'm going to push this to here and push and push. So I've got a lot of open space here. I actually have a leftover burger that I made a couple of nights ago. I made hamburgers last night or a couple of nights ago for the family. And I have one that I specifically made for lunch, and it's sitting there just waiting for me. And my wife doesn't have to go in until later today, so I actually get to have lunch with my wife, which is kind of a rare treat. I don't usually get that to happen. So, keeping an eye on where we are with Mayrel and Navin here. One of the problems that I've got with this is that this camera we need to have on Mayrel. This camera is not set for a focal length, so it's set for 65, and it really needs to be 35 because we all expect to see things at 35 millimeters. So I've adjusted the camera to 35 millimeters on the focal length. And so that gives me a little bit more perspective on where things are, but it also screws up what I was just doing. So there we go. So now we see we're in a much more open format. I'm probably going to be really close on their faces for this. So I want to make sure that their eyes are pretty close together because the rest of this is going to end up getting trimmed. So this is where we are here. I can actually probably just, because we're probably only going to have this much of this particular shot. Honey's like, all I want's tea. Poor Honey. I'm like, all I want's tea. The other thing I should probably do is pull the script. So we're going to come back out here. Act 1, prologue. So the pages actually exist in here, which is pretty serious. Okay, pull in the script. Now, if you guys have never seen how I break my scripts, I'll show you here in just a second. And say panel 4. Now here we go with, here's the actual script as it stands. So each page is a different color. So I know where my pages are. And that's how I know I have 12 pages on here. It's because obviously I can just count them up. What I have done, and it's kind of hard to see because you need to zoom in quite a bit to kind of see what's going on, but We are now here where it says controller shuttle J5A approach to the marker, then adjust for priority traffic in the pipe. Your slot is 4 to the shuttle to bay 44 starboard. And the pilot responds by saying, Roger, number 4244 starboard, priority traffic clear at the marker, beginning approach. Since this is all that tech chatter that pilots have, that's why that scene where Mayrel is looking forward and smiling, because she's a pilot. She's listening in to the traffic and going, oh, okay, yeah, I know exactly what's happening next. She's a pilot. Jal is Navin, because I haven't changed the name yet. Navin says that's a big home ship. And then she says in number 4, she says, first time on a home ship, ensign? And he says, yes, sir. First time anywhere. You? And she says, I was born on a home ship. Right? Because she's Deastati, and Deastati are born on home ships. So that's where we are. Look at us go. Look at us already halfway through this page. Doing our job. Doing our jarb. Jorb. Okay, so the next panel here, she says, I was born in a home ship. I actually feel like this is good because the look on her face is sort of a, you're not paying attention, are you? Sort of look. She's got the tattoos on her face that indicate that she's Deastati. Internally in the story, he should know better, but he doesn't. Actually, he's just being stupid, but that's okay. Personally, drinking just normal black iced tea here. And you know what? I spent forever in Japan and really never got the hang of green tea. I don't know. You know what? People are people. And so we're all different folk. Okay, so I'm going to actually do a third camera because I can create as many cameras as I want. And this is, I'm going to call wide. This is also called a 2/2 camera. I'm going to make sure that it's also at 35 millimeters because that should be the default. And we're going to go to the wide view. And the wide view, also known as a 2/2, means that I'm putting both of these guys in the same shot. Right? So lining this up so that their eyes, and you always, whenever you want to angle things, you want to angle from below. Yeah, I don't know. I mean, so many people love green tea, and I just never really got it. And
Well, I guess it's a good thing that when you and Maya were here, I didn't have the green tea I wanted to serve you
it's okay.
because that
I
green tea
drink green
actually,
tea.
the green tea that I was gonna serve you had sakura petals in them.
Oh, but see, that's the thing. My wife loves green tea, so you would have been fine. She would have been okay with it. She was cool with it.
Yeah.
She would have been totally cool. It's just me that. Okay, so he now realizes what kind of idiocy he's done. So I'm going to spring him up. See how he's. I'm going to turn him like this. I'm going to twist him towards her. Right, because that's what we do. Oh no, I'm he's gonna. I'm gonna take and twist the arm out like this and bend his hands up. Right, and sort of a, oh, I am stupid and I am sorry sort of affectation, like so. Right. because he's doing the I am an idiot. I'm stupid. I'm stupid. The other thing is the difference between I surrender and I'm sorry is your body language. So we lean forward. Right? It's an awkward moment for this poor young pilot. So I'm going to lean him forward and lean him in so that he's not surrendering to her. You want to make sure he's not surrendering. This is an apology. He's apologizing. I'm so sorry. I didn't think about it, you know. So I'm going to lean him in like so. Poor guy. What did he do? Oh no, I'm so sorry. I forgot. I didn't realize you were Deastati. And so give this back just a little like so. And that grieve. Catch that grieve every time. Right. So I'll put this here. I'm going to have to twist his arm a little bit more out of alignment here like this. Not the grieve. Right. Now we got to twist that body more. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, bro. Okay, so let's look at how we're doing. Whoa, you know. What are you working on, Pepper?
I moved on from Captain Pumpkin to a comic strip known as Caves, and I'm thinking it's 3 kids that explore caves.
There you go.
So, I ended up basically doing like the comic strip superhero ending, like where it's like midway through.
Moist caves. Moist caves. He's looking good.
So, no, in this one, I'm having the lead character be an extreme curly red-haired child.
Maybe he clenches his fists. Right? Ooh. Got a feel for the guy, right? I mean, like. The Deastati spent a lot of time being an oppressed people. So I'm having problems with the maquette exploding here, guys. Nice. Thanks. Cat's completely freaked out here. Sometimes I spend a lot of time on one particular pose, like trying to figure it out. But I mean, again, it's still faster with the maquettes than it is with drawing this. I'd still be sketching tomorrow on this one frame because this is already confusing and complicated. Like, I need to think out his body language. Right? Kind of moving his leg in like that. Oh, I'm sorry. Right? He's clutching up here. So I also change their I try to change their expression as well so that it fits. Totally didn't hit him over the head or anything.
Well, I'm glad he didn't resort to violence in the end, but I'm glad that he's now quiet.
Welcome back to the stage of history. So let's look at this and see whether we like this or not. We may not. We may have to redo this. We'll see. I totally didn't do anything. We believe you. We are your friends. We will believe anything. All right. Waiting for that render to pull through. Ooh, I actually will cancel this render because looking at the script, no, that's a thing. So Donald, my mom was a probation officer at night. She was a volunteer probation officer with the city of Westminster. So no, I didn't. One night on the 4th of July, my buddies came up here and grabbed me and my car, and they woke me up, by the way. They woke me up to do this. And then they were going to fire off a whole bunch of fireworks. And so they went to the subdivision that hadn't been built yet. And they were just going to fire off some fireworks in the subdivision. So I didn't want to do it. And they convinced me to do it. And we got out there. And as soon as we lit one firework, we found out that there was a police car sitting in the subdivision waiting for some idiot kids like us to do exactly what we were doing. So he just flips his lights on. And he was like sitting like, I don't know, 300 feet. See you later, Colton. Enjoy work for what it's worth. Well, it's night for Hone because they're in Thailand. So it's not anyway. So the answer to the question is luckily the cop let us go with a warning, but it was a Westminster cop, and my mom had already said that if I got snagged by the cops, she would never, or she wouldn't defend me. That was her thing. She was like, you get caught by it, I'm going to assign your probation officer. And I was like, that doesn't sound good.
So I don't know how else to explain the situation other than my mom did work with the police a lot, and she had ramped up like her police like volunteer it's kind of hard to explain. So basically what my mom did was she did search and rescue with the police officers in the town that I grew up in. She would handle training new volunteers that were going to go out to help with search and rescue, and she did all of that, beach trainings, forest trainings, all of that stuff. So I was home visiting one day, and I'm like just going like to a local store, but I was using my mom's car. And I get pulled over, lo and behold, right in front of the police station because, like you do. Um, and I hear in the background after they take my license and registration, and I give them my mom's car insurance card because I'm driving her car. And the other police, so there's one police officer, and in the town I grew up in, you can't give the person a ticket until your backup arrives. So I had now two police officers behind me talking about what they're going to do,
To
and I
you.
to this situation, because one of them goes, "I wouldn't give the kid a ticket," and he goes, "But I saw that he was speeding 5 over," and then the other cop was like, "Yeah, but look at the ticket. Just let him off with a warning. He doesn't live here very much, and that's Mary Ann's kid." So I got a warning, and I showed my mom, and my mom just died laughing because apparently she knew the cop that pulled me over. And I was like, this is kind of embarrassing, but also a funny story one day. So,
Today is that day,
yeah.
as far as funny stories go.
Yeah, my mom was kind of like your mom. Like, if I got pulled over and was given a ticket, okay, I got pulled over and given a ticket. I wasn't supposed to get special treatment. But the police officers that were like on the scene were like, yeah, we don't want to deal with giving Mary Ann's son a ticket. You know? Um, so, yeah. There's my mom's police story that I can share. Now, Guy can probably use that for one of his characters in Bellatrix Rising.
It'll happen. Don't think it won't.
Yeah, small
Yeah.
town boys.
Well, and I guess it all depends on small town and what you consider a small town. I mean,
Jupiter, when I was growing up, was a town.
it was an
Everyone
actual
knew what
town.
yeah, it was an actual town. It was labeled a town. It was a big town, but it was labeled a town when I was a child. There were before, like, now it looks like it's built up and it's been like deforested and stuff in a lot of places. But when I was a kid, almost 75% of the town was still forest. So, yeah, I like it too. They have a really distinct lighthouse, Donald, if you like lighthouses.
If you're a lighthouse sort of person.
Yeah.
Okay, so he's dejected, giving him the dejected body language. I'm going to bend his shoulders forward because people, when they're dejected, bend their shoulders forward. So we're going to bend his shoulder down and roll it forward a little, okay? Because that's what we do when we're like, oh, right? We're dejected. So that's Venus, dude. Sailor Love is Venus. Sailor Jupiter was
He says
treated.
he loved lighthouses when he was a sailor.
Oh, Sailor Love was Venus. I'm just saying.
Actually, Jupiter used to be 3 different towns, and the other 2 towns weren't doing so well, so Jupiter took them over.
Mm-hmm.
And so, no joke, Jupiter consumed the towns of Venus and Mars.
Nice.
And
so you're saying that Jupiter was so big that it just sucked in Venus and Mars.
Yep.
You have an entirely different history of the solar system. I love it.
Yep. There's a town south of us that One was called It's called Juno Beach now. But at one point, it was two towns called Galaxy and Juno.
There is a place called Lighthouse in Bellatrix Rising, Donald. It's at the opening of the Ariatis Passage, which is a unpleasant passage that's difficult to travel in, but it's the exit point up the arm of the spur of the Orion Spur. So going 5 p.m. What am I doing with my life? I think we're in a wall. Oh no, we're not in a wall. Okay.
Mm.
Sometimes we render in a wall. All right. Now we'll do the thing. Completes Act 1, Prologue. So we are on page 2, right? 2 with cover. So this is page 2. So here's a standard manga-sized comic page with all of its instructions and controls. The first thing we need to do is add a raster layer, and I'm going to call this blockout because we have to put a white blockout layer so that I can see through what's going on. We'll come back to that in a second. And I'll add another raster layer, and this one's called ink. Then we're going to go back down to the main page. Right? All you want is T. We've already been through this, right? It's like all you want is T. What is it with people? Now, normally with Clip Studio, you can actually do quite a bit with doing individual panels. And as much as I absolutely adore doing individual panels, the truth is I like it a whole lot better to just do this straight up. Cut these things as I need to. So we're going to just open all of these guys right now, the pictures that we just shot. I'm going to open them up. Or we're not, because you apparently can only open one at a time. Whatever. I actually think I can grab these and do this. I don't know why I don't click and drag more often on things. Clip Studio's like, oh no! I hate the world! All right. Noticing, though, that it looks like Navin's eyes are not actually, they're not set for ambient 100, so we'll have to go back and fix it. All right, going here, all copy. Here, we'll paste it in, and we'll just do the same thing. All copy, paste that in. All copy, paste that in. And that way we'll have all these panels in. Whoops. Right? I like how you can see through the windows. There we go. So now all the panels are in, so I can close these guys. That'll make Clip Studio a lot happier. Also noticing that they're not glowing like I want them to, which means I'm going to have to go back and fix it again. Okay. So now page 2 is set. So I'm going to go ahead and save it now so that if I ever have any problems, I can come back here to this spot. We wait for a save. All right. Now they're in reverse order. So panel 1. So what I will do now is actually take a look at my original artwork here. It's hard to see. I'll take a look at my original control artwork and I'll say, okay, what are my panel layouts? In this instance, we have an open top panel. So that panel is not going to be a problem. Then we have 3 layers underneath it. So what can we do here that will allow us to have those 3 layers? We've got an open top panel. So I think this entire top panel can be its own critter. So I'm going to go on ahead and do this, hit straight line. My brush controls are fixed and the instructions on how wide my brushes are live down here. So my borders have to be at 20 point. So I'll set my brush for 20 point, right? Now here's a trick with Clip Studio. If you hit Shift, your lines are fixed to 45s, which is extremely useful if you are trying to do stuff like what we're about to do here. So I'm going to go on ahead and take this top panel. We're just going to go on ahead and say that. That's all that top panel, right? Gutters are also says that they're 4 meters for horizontal and their vertical is 2 millimeters. This scale on the side over here is set for millimeters relative to the actual page when it's done, not into what it is right now. Black coffee beans or normal? Not quite sure. What are normal coffee beans if they're not black? So 1, open, 2, open. We're going to be here for this one. Do you know?
Huh?
Hone is talking about coffee and whether they should go with a black coffee bean or a normal coffee bean. And I don't actually.
Blend roast?
Dark roast? Oh, okay. That's what we're talking about. Is dark roast versus light roast?
Yeah.
I am not the right person to ask because as an ADDer, someone who has the attention deficit disorder dysfunction, I am constantly on super high concentration caffeine. I'm always on very high concentrations of caffeine because it keeps my brain going.
Honestly, Hone, if I do drink coffee, it's coffee mixed with chicory root.
Ooh, that's actually pretty decent sounding.
It's a southern United States staple.
Mm-hmm. So this one is, we're just going to go here, I think. Sounds good. And then we'll come out to here. There's one panel. I'm going to leave this one open because it's a space panel and there's a ship flying through space on it. So I'm just going to leave this guy open over here. And then we're down, I'm going to set 2. So this guy goes to right here. So 1, 2, and then we will start here. Hold the shift key. And then we'll go all the way across for the benefit of figuring out where the heck we are on these things. We got to remember we've got one more panel set to the bottom. So I don't want to go all the way down. So there. 1, 2. Hold 2 there. This is our last panel on the bottom because there's 2 in this set. This is square-ish. There. And now all we need to do is go do some quick cleanup. There we go. I don't know how you live if your coffee supply is low. Honey, it's a bad thing. Okay. Taking the blackout panel. We're going to take this guy here. We're going to shrink him down. Bring him in. We go. We'll do something sort of like this. I hit OK. All of their eyes. We want to make sure their eyes are above. So inside the safes, right here, this is the safe. We'll bring that inside the safe. The rest of the artwork can be outside the safe. It's all right. It's always a big problem, child. Okay. Work like so. And we'll hit panel 2. Oh, actually, I apparently did not, in fact, realize that this was that panel. This is this panel. It's okay. Right? No, this is 3. Panel 3. I'm looking at my instructions. Right? I think that's right. All right. Because I think this panel shows an open panel of the shuttle flying in. And then here is our pilot throwing a switch and doing the things. I really don't think I'm doing this right. I feel like my instructions on my cheat sheet are different than the actual things. Because I've got one too many panels here. Because I feel like this panel belongs here. Like so. And we have a toasted print over here from Brent. I think this is this panel, and I really do. I think that's this. 1, 2, and then 3, and then we'll be over here. we will Zorch this and this. She's looking at him. He's saying, man, that's a huge ship. We're here. Then this is where she says, is this your first time on a home ship? And he says, yes, you. Let's take a look in here. How much detail can we get in here? Right. There we go. I am constantly narrating this.
Have fun at work.
Okay. I will see you tomorrow there, Brent. Have a good time at work. I don't think that's going to happen, but we can always hope. Hope springs eternal. And then we will do this. And she says, I was born on a home ship, you twerp. He says, I'm sorry. I'm a dummy. I am a dummy. So we want to make it just enough that we can get room on both sides, but the breathing space is between them right here. So we're going to do that. Things are definitely coming together here. And then our poor dejected ensign. He's so dejected. Like, I'm just stupid. I'm sorry. I'm a dummy. And we will do this. Give him a little bit of... You want to give enough space that we can see his body language, and we're only keeping the chair behind him. So I don't need to worry about the rest of this that doesn't quite fit like it's supposed to, but that's okay. Right, so we'll do that. We'll trim down. We'll trim up. Right. The only thing is I want to redo this guy. So we're going to re-pull. Lots of shouting people in your world, honey. We're going to reopen the panel this panel. I'm going to bring it through. We're just going to replace it. Because I want to get her expression, but I also want to get him clicking buttons so we can see that there's button clicking going on here. We have to give enough room for the dialogue in this particular frame. So we're going to do that. All right, so there we go. And then I'm going to squish all of these guys together and make this the background. Your friend is weird. Gotcha. All right. I was going to keep going with pages, go back over and do other pages to show how fast we can do this. But the truth is, kind of feeling like I want to get into this, see what kind of trouble I can cause. So let's get in here. So because I've got a Najor in here, I'm going to add a layer and call this my pencil layer. As usually I don't pencil, but since I have a Najor in here, and this is kind of our first first time out on the deck here with this, we're gonna kind of do this. So the Najor's heads are always like so. And he's got an eye here and an eye here. He can actually be kind of a happy Najor. Right? So he'll, but it's important. There we go, sort of more like this. They like to make their heads hammerheads because they think it's funny. It matches the ships, is really what's happening.
You should have one that doesn't do that.
Yep. Oh, yeah. I'm sure there's going to be all kinds of stuff. And he actually probably doesn't even have pockets. He doesn't need them. Probably should have just taken the pockets off. And he's going to have a different patch because he doesn't actually belong to our ship. He is Unity. Also, since the Najor are just screwing with us by putting on a uniform, they're only doing it to pretend like they're part of the what's it's. They can probably keep the collars closed. Right? So while we have our Najor, here's our second picture of the Najor. He'll be looking upward like so. I'll actually move this eye in like so. And then remind myself that I don't need to worry about that. And that he doesn't really need pockets. Buckets is. Only problem is, I think Najor actually probably do have they would have to have something that they clamp around their wrists and ankles. Otherwise, they wouldn't have RC thrusters. And one of the things is that these spacesuits are space capable.
Okay.
So I think they've got something that they're clamping onto their wrists and on their real friends do all kinds of funny things because they're real friends. It does, though, make me wonder about my real friends, like, Pepper here.
What are you trying to say?
Right? You're like, are you saying that I'm annoying you? Are you saying that? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm trying to find out.
Right? All right, coming in here. One of the things that I will also do, by the way, just so that I remember how to do these things, is I'm about to load up a page from from the manga. Which I guess isn't in reference. It's in my collections, Macross, the manga. I like to have a page of Macross open over here so that I can see what it looks like and remember what it looks like. So I'm going to pull this out and actually just drag it over here. And that way it's not in the way of my art, but I can see how my master does these things so that I won't forget. Right? Because we want to make sure that we match this. We have about 9 minutes left in the show.
Mm-hmm. We've gotten 3 comic strips written out now.
Nicely done.
I'm on one where I'm kind of stumped because I remember posting these characters somewhere like a long time ago, and I figured why not bring them out for a longer Saturday morning comic strip style comic, because they're teddy bears. Well, not really teddy bears. They're all different types of bears that are going up against all different types of bees and wasps. Just trying to remember where I put it.
Unlike Odo and all of the other sort of shape-shifting kind of aliens, we have my Najor are excellent at forming colors and shapes. So it's not sort of a trope that shapeshifters are imperfect unless they're bad. If they're bad, they're perfect at shapeshifting. Boy, music is kind of loud though, isn't it? That little, like I feel like I can hear the echo of the music in your rig over there.
Yeah, you can.
All right. All right. So, right. Stop being a ship-headed Dude, Najor, you're weird. One of the things, of course, with using the maquettes is sometimes their anatomy is not solid. So you have to go back and fix the anatomy. Just a thing you have to accept. Right. Unfortunately, the G pin just does not go fast.
No. There it is.
Yep. And you ran right off there, didn't you? Yeah, I did. I totally did. Make sure she has her lieutenants. This is Lieutenant JG. So she's going to make sure she has her lieutenant stripes on her uniform. Because part of this is that she is definitely the senior officer here because the pilot is on the shuttle is enlisted. So even though she's effectively a butter bar, right? I mean, I think George was. I don't know where George is. You know what it is? My wife is home. And so George has her to pester. And so he's downstairs pestering her, which I think is exactly what happened to George. When she's not here, he's got no one better to pester than me. So he'll be up here to visit with me and hang out. But he's got her to pester, and she's down there doing something, which I'm sure he has found infinitely interesting. So I can't see very. Why are you? Did I? Oh, I totally did. Good job, me. Oh, boy. Okay, when we're done with this, we get to make a fix to the background because I actually need the background for this. So we'll have to come back in and fix it. That's all right. We will. So we go out past this because unlike our little Najor dude over here, she doesn't actually keep her suit clasped. She doesn't need to. It's uncomfortable for the humans to do that. So they don't tend to clasp the suit. It only takes a second to pinch it closed. And when you do, it immediately starts. You're out of here, huh, Donald? Well, we'll see you later. You can always visit us tomorrow or whatever. It is 11:01, Pepper.
Oh. Okay. Well,
It's time for us to go.
all right.
And we will see you later, Hone. We will see you, Donald, and we'll see you, Brent. And again, thank you for
Bye,
joining.
Demo. Bye, Brent. Bye, Hone.
And we'll see you at some other time. Until then, keep your eyes on the stars. Goodbye.
Computer, good night.